Hello guys, it's Battlefield 4, not Battlefield Hardlind. Allow me to explain. The other day I was thinking about, obviously Battlefield 4, what I was going to do, just do a video just showing how crazy and stupid Operation Metro is. But I thought that was pointless, but then I realised I almost had like a eureka moment. Because I'm still a massive fan of Battlefield 3. I feel it was the greatest Battlefield I've ever played. I've either played Battlefield 2, and I feel Battlefield 3 just hit the nail on the head, like, or as close as it could to perfectly getting Battlefield to what it could, to, like, basically making the greatest Battlefields. Battlefield 3 has come the closest in my opinion. It still had a lot of problems, but in my eyes still close to one. Now what I wanted to do was look back, see what, or really share what I felt this game got right, and Battlefield's and what Battlefield 3 did better than this game, or if this game left out any crucial features that was in the previous one. Now, let's begin with what I would say are the positives. Obviously the positives are that this game was made available on next-gen hardware as well as previous-gen hardware. Obviously, you can't really make a comparison because Battlefield 3 was released on next-gen hardware. But the fact that they managed to include it on like PS4 and Xbox One, and the fact that it could do 64, didn't make it as good as the PC versions, but it was like the better substitute. So like, you still had 64 players, you still had mental carnage madness, you still had people creating their own servers with their own rules and stuff, as you would have on the PC version. It's just, there's a couple features you didn't have, like you couldn't type in the text chat, but we still got the old text wheel thing. Like hell, even previous generation consoles got that. But anyway, that it got right. Now, commander mode, yes. Yes, that was a good feature, especially because obviously Battlefields did. There was some competitive clans made for Battlefields, like either back in Battlefield 3 or before that, like competitive. I can't speak now. Competitive clans have been made. So obviously the whole feature of a commander mode can like sort of make a match even more competitive, and it actually made the game more accessible to those who weren't good at the shooting element. If you weren't good at the shooting element, but you had a good eye for strategy and pushing a team to success, just play as the commander. You still leveled up, it still leveled you up, so you still unlocked weapons and stuff. You didn't have to really get involved in the fighting. It's almost like the pacifist way of playing Battlefield, and it worked. If you learned the systems of commander mode, you could dominate at it. You could be the most unstoppable commander. It's quite a cool thing to oh, like for your teammate. It's almost like God mode in essence. Like you're just sitting down looking above the map. It's almost like gods just looking down upon the map. And then it's just like the soldiers on your team just crying out, "We need a UAV!" It's like done. There you go. That was, and it was a feature they brought back on Battlefield Bad Company 2, which makes me question why, like, didn't they have it in Battlefield 3? Like, was it because that they wanted the game to work on both the 7th generation consoles and PC, so they couldn't have it in? Because 7th gen wouldn't be able to handle it? I mean, you can still go Commander on 7th gen in Battlefield 4, so surely that's a clear reason to say, well, why did you put this in Battlefield 3? You could have had it in there earlier. Like, why didn't you have it in there? So, yeah, that happened. And it this game did remove some of the weapons that I would consider to be overpowered, or, you know, just a bit imbalanced, or some of the weapon balancing was great. Like, they gave the AEK much more kick. Like, back in Battlefield 3, the pro guns to use if you were playing your assault class was M16A3, AEK. If you had either of those guns, it meant you were trying to win. Like, it meant you wanted to win the match. It didn't mean you were just playing the game for fun. It meant you wanted to win the match. It was what all the pro players used to play. Like, I'd always watch the Battlefield 3 top players. No, it wasn't even the Battlefield 3 top players. It was just the Battlefield top players, and you just see them on there. You'd get like one or two Metro clips, or you'd get 1-2 clips of someone just running around with an M16A3 or even an AK. Thankfully, they did take the M16A3 out, because in Battlefield 3 they had the M16A3 and M16A4. They left the burstfire one, the burstfire version, the M16A4 in, and to be honest, I kind of prefer that. Like, it meant that the M16 wasn't the only viable option if you really want to play serious. You sort of even the playing field out, and they gave the AEK more kick. And so yeah, weapon balancing I felt was good. I'm not saying it was terrible in Battlefield 3, it was good in Battlefield 3, just reworking it was a good thing Battlefield 4 did. And if I had to say anything, one good feature is how you was like how Origin was accessible in the game. Like the fact that I could press the touchpad on my PlayStation controller and boom, it bring up Origin. I could then set my friends some challenges on Origin, or I could check my stats, how well am I doing in a challenge. It streamlined everything, so that was good. It no longer meant I had to have like my laptop sitting next to me to see anything to do with Origin. I could have it all on the screen right in front of me. Now, here's where I'm gonna shift my focus to what Battlefield 3 did better, or what this game left out. First thing I want to bring up is one of the mechanics that was actually crucial to Battlefield 3's gameplay, which I'm gutted that they left out. It was the suppression mechanic. Allow me to explain. In Battlefield 3, because quite a lot of the maps were desert, because the story mode was set in Iran, you'd had quite a few desert maps. But even on the maps where there wasn't any desert, it had this cool mechanic where if you were shooting sort of on the ground or on objects around your target, dust, dirt, anything would be kicked up into their face. Like if you were at long distance and your bullets were hitting the floor, like the dust from that would be kicked up into their face, make it like it wouldn't be ridiculously kicked up so they couldn't see anything, but it made it more difficult to see them, making suppressor fire a more viable mechanic. So you didn't like obviously the whole point of first person shooters is to shoot the enemy, but it meant if you weren't hitting a target, you were still affecting them in some way. And obviously this works both ways. If you're getting suppressed, you're going to have dirt being kicked up in your face. It means you're going to have to find some cover, wait for your teammates to come and support you, or your squad mates rather, if you're in a squad. Like if you're not going lone wolf, you're going to have to get your squad mates to help you, so that they can assist you, get you out of the situation, lay down some fire so you can get up and keep fighting. And map design. Like, the classic Battlefield maps, like I'm playing on Operation Metro right now, a Battlefield 3 map, for as stupid as it was actually such a good map because it was stupid, but the rest of the maps were well designed. I could go off and list them. Grand Bazaar, Damavan Peak, like Damavan Peak Rush was probably the greatest rush map I've ever played. The whole part where the attacking team, once they take the MCOM stations at the top of the base, they then jump down, you parachute it down onto the next MCOM stations, and then the defending team would set up on the roofs, try and fire up. You'd have the helicopters flying up, either trying to just rose kill the people coming down, or just trying to get into a good position to gun them all down. You'd have a couple of engineers on top, either with stingers or just regular RPGs, just trying to shoot them down. It was amazing. But some of the maps, like, just in terms of design, I don't think they were that good. Like, there were a couple of good ones, like, for me, Dawnbreaker, especially on Rush, that was a good one. I will say that was a good map. But that's about it. Now, to me, that's kind of worrying when you can only look on one map, on one particular game mode, and say, actually, that was a good map. Like, that was a very good map. I'd happily play that 24/7. That's not good. If you can go through, if you can say, right, give me Battlefield 3, what are your favourite maps, and you could create a list of maps that were good, then you ask the same Battlefield 4, but you can't. That's a worrying aspect. Now, one thing that did annoy me was actually again to do with Origin. Now I have one good part about Origin. There's a part I hate. Like in the main menu on Battlefield 3, you could customize each of your class's loadouts, so you could party up with 4 of your mates. You'd be like, alright, so what map and game mode are we gonna play? And then you could say, alright, like this is for you if you wanted to play in a competitive match. You can, before the match, you could say, alright, let me just adjust my classes. You could even do this on PC, so you could adjust your classes before you even put in Battlefield 3, and then boom, do it. And then you come into the game, and it's made all your changes. That was brilliant. That was astonishing. But then, for Battlefield 4, I can't even connect Origin on PC. I can't even connect, not Origin, Battlelog on... I can't even connect the browser to my PS4 copy. I've bought the PS4 copy. It allows me to use Battlelog in the game. But then whenever I go on to the website, it tells me, oh, I need to purchase the game. So in order to actually use this on the PC version, I have to purchase the game according to it. Why? Why didn't they just keep Battlelog the way it was? They didn't need to change it. It was already a good system. It was just, oh god. A waste. A waste, a waste, a waste. Now, there's one other thing, one sort of final thing I didn't like. And again, this has to go back to kind of map design, but in Battlefield 3, sort of, a couple of the maps would look well polished, but then over the course of the battle, like a war would go down, like the map would get turned up. A good example of this is Zebra Tower. It would start off clean, nice, pristine. After 10 minutes of a conquest domination match, that tower has been through a battle, you can tell. And at the end of it, on the final like few moments of the match, you just looking at the walls thinking, what the bloody hell's going on here? In Battlefield 3, that was brilliant, but the fact that the maps could be torn up. I'm not saying the maps can't be torn up in Battlefield 4, I'm just saying they look too polished. Put some dirt, put some other things into it. Oy. I mean, I know these aren't the standard conventional pros and cons that most people have about these games, but, you know, they're mine. And at least they're my own opinions. So I'm trying to be diverse. But anyway,